Loki comes out on June 9th, but a lot of people are still asking what exactly is this show about. So I'm going to go over what we know so far, some popular theories, and just try to make everything clear for you before the show comes out. In Avengers Endgame, Loki picks up the Tesseract during the New York scene and teleports away. And now we know that Loki disrupted the timeline by doing this. And if you're wondering why the other Avengers didn't disrupt it, it's because Captain America at the end goes back and returns all the stones to where they should be. So after Loki teleports away, he is somehow captured by the TVA, which is the Time Variance Authority, and they are responsible for maintaining the proper flow of time in the universe. The TVA seems to be making Loki help them restore the timeline that he disrupted, and even the TVA seem to know that Loki is also hard to trust, so I'm sure that will be an interesting dynamic to see in the show. And it also seems that Loki will have to go through a space legal trial for his crimes of stealing the Tesseract, and this could be how he gets put on the punishment of having to go restore the timeline. Now, we do not know the main villain of the show if there is one, but it is important to remember that Loki in this show is from right after the events of the original Avengers movie, where he is still evil. Now, that doesn't mean he will exactly be evil in this show, but it could definitely be similar to WandaVision, where it kind of blurs the line where they're doing some villainous things and some things that would be like a hero, so it's kind of hard to see where the show will go exactly with that. But something to keep in mind, the God of Mischief, I'm sure, will be playing both sides in this show. Even though we do not know the villain, though, we do know some characters that are going to be in this show. Agent Mobius works for the TVA and seems to be one of the characters that Loki will first come across in this show. Now, in the comics, Mobius encounters the Fantastic Four, but it is important to remember that Disney intends for people to be able to watch the entire MCU and understand it without watching these TV shows, so they're not going to announce something like the Fantastic Four in this show. So keep your hopes in order here. Don't get like WandaVision. Everybody thinks something crazy is going to happen, and then you're just going to be let down, because it's not going to happen in the shows. We were also recently introduced to Miss Minutes. So far from what we've seen, Miss Minutes seems to be like the voice of the TVA, and she'll be explaining things to Loki, which will also give us, the viewers, a good explanation of the events that happened leading up to this, and probably explaining the TVA more to us so we know more about it. The next character we know about is Regina Renslayer, and this character is a judge in the show who, like I said earlier, could decide what role Loki will have to play in helping the TVA restore the timeline. Now, while I said there's not going to be any big events or new characters coming into the MCU, most likely, besides people like, Mobius and stuff like that, but we're not going to see things like the Fantastic Four. But at the end of the latest trailer, we do see the Bifrost, and something that's been going through my mind is that in these timelines, it could be possible that we go to a point where Asgard is not destroyed yet. So do we see Heimdall? Do we see Thor in this? Those things could be possible that they make an appearance, even if it's from a different timeline or something similar to Endgame, where you're kind of like watching an old scene play out and Loki has to go and intervene somehow. Or somehow there could be a way that they try to pull Loki from this TVA reality here back into the main timeline, and this gets him back into the MCU, because as we know, nobody's ever dead, and I feel like they definitely want to keep Loki around. And if they do end up having Loki somehow get back into the regular timeline that we know in the MCU, this could be interesting, because like I said, Loki is still a villain at this point, and if he's back in the MCU, could this cause more problems for Thor and stuff in the future? That we'll have to see. So let me know, what are your hopes and what are your theories about Loki? Comes out in a couple weeks. I'm very excited for it, and I'm going to have reviews for every single episode and the entire series breakdown at the end. So if you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe and watch my other MCU videos. I've got a ton of them. I'll see you guys in the next one.